Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Good morning. Good morning. It is a beautiful Thursday morning. That's a lie. It's a real gross morning. I don't know what it's like where you're at.
It's sunny out here,
It's
but it's like
gross here.
95 to 98 degrees right now. So though it is decent out,
Hmm.
it's definitely not a great morning.
Yeah, I woke up and let the dog out and was hit in the face with a wall of humidity,
Oh yeah,
which
no,
is
definitely 100%.
unpleasant. Um,
That's where I'm at too with it. The humidity is
okay.
just brutal.
Hey Artemis, welcome to the stream. Kasienka, new to the stream. Zegron sent you our way. Oh boy. Zegron is a riot and has the best chat entrance I've ever seen on any stream ever. Every time Zegron enters our chat, he posts like a paragraph of content into our chat that's just like his
Jesus.
his entry monologue. It's very, very good.
Oh, he's got like the theme music and everything.
He doesn't have the theme music. I don't have that set up, but I should. I should set that up just so that Zegron can have it play when he enters. Because it's very good. Has been Wizard. Welcome to the stream, bud. Okay, we are joined this morning by our good friends from Tabletop Misfit.
Hey, hey.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell people where they can find you, and we'll dive right in here.
Sure, let me teleport my character back to his home so that I don't have to be bothered by that game. For anybody that's curious, we are Tabletop Misfits. We're over at Twitch at tabletop_misfits. We run two streams every week. Our first stream is our main stream, and it's on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. And currently, we are running through a project called Plots in Darkenhaven. What Plots in Darkenhaven is this massive world made by GUI Cube, which we personally work with, and a lot of us that are playing in it are actually writers for the company.
Mhm.
And it's episodic based, and it's based around a guest. Every week we have a new guest, and we have 3 to 4 other players that will join them on their quest. And they come with an adventure, they come with they come with a problem. And when they give the problem, the rest of the players are there to make sure that that problem is resolved. We have new players each week. We have new guests each week, and we're starting episode 3 this week, and we're going to be venturing into the towns of Riverside, which is a little bit outside of the area that they currently reside in. So we're looking forward to that. If you're interested in maybe learning more about D&D, our Wednesday show is better for that. That's Tavern Talks. That's also at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's where myself and either one of my co-hosts or friends that are part of the team,
One of my
or
co-hosts
just
or
me,
friends that
and a special guest every week come on and we talk D&D for about an hour, hour and a half. We don't really have anything more than a sentence or two to start the show off, but we are looking for people who are interested in increasing and improving their games, whether it be with maps, whether it be with how to write NPCs or how to tell stories with NPCs. And we take that hour to an hour and a half and badger our guests with this stuff because it's fun and exciting and people don't.
It's a good time. Yeah,
Hunter, you were on it what, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Oh, it was longer than that.
Maybe longer.
It's
Okay.
it's been a bit. I think it was in.
Okay, we might have to have you back on.
It may.
in a couple
I
of
think it
months.
was in May.
Oh gosh,
that was. So it's been
So,
it's been
mind
a little
you,
while.
That show came out of a whim with my co-host Corey going. He goes, "Hey man, do you ever have a beer and just talk D&D on Twitch?" And I was like, "Why didn't anybody else think about this?" Of course I do.
That's how we started as well.
And so we each came in to the show with a beer in our hands, and that has never really solved itself. I normally come in with a beer.
Mhm.
Now I have a nice little cozy from Gooey Cube, so I can
Nice.
cover up what the beer is and
Yeah.
just show the Gooey Cube cozy.
Yeah, because unless that beer is sponsoring you, you can't give them free
Right,
ad
yeah.
space.
Now, mind you, the 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did have a company, or we had a guy on the show, DM McLeod, who runs Loaded Dice Rollers,
Mhm.
which is a lot bigger than I had thought it was. I've never really spoken to the man before, but he also runs McLeod Ale Brewing in California. And I was like, we might have to have a different conversation because if you want to send me beer every week and I'll show it off on the show,
That's awesome.
we could talk differently.
That's very cool.
My coloration, I'm sorry, I keep like.
Oh,
fading out
you're
into-
good. It's every once in a while, light just deforms your head.
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I've already got this little like weird bump here that's not actually there, but I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
It's one of the benefits of having
I mean,
like
I should
just
not
a
be able to
set
do
that
that.
I
If you
sit
watch
in.
my head, I can slowly revolve where the bump is.
There you go.
Ridiculous.
I don't think I ever showed it on stream. When I went to Origins Game Fair last month, I think. I don't know. Time is a
Yeah.
construct.
Oh God, yes.
When I went there, I didn't cancel any of I run games professionally, so I didn't cancel any of my night games while I was there. So I would work in the convention hall all day and then run to my hotel room and sit down at the desk in the hotel room and run games from the hotel room.
Ooh.
I'm
wondering how many times you at the end of that you went, well, that was a horrible idea.
There were definitely a few times where I was like, why did I think this was a good idea?
Why did I plan so much?
I should cancel tomorrow, and then tomorrow would come and I go, dang it, I forgot to cancel.
I forgot to cancel, right?
But one of the things that I did to prep for that, because I do have this set behind me, is I made a virtual background in Zoom that is just my set, so I can have virtual background that is still the set behind me.
Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
And the next, if I ever have to do it again, I will. I'll do it as a video, just a looping video, so you still get the light flickerings and stuff in the background.
So it legitimately looks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's fantastic. Artemis is also a Gooey Cube fan. Apparently, Alphinius is going to be over on Prep or Die in a couple of weeks. Which Artemis, I haven't been on there yet. What is going on?
What is it?
It's a show called Prep or Die.
Hey, look, I'm back. I'm here actually on channel now. Look at that. I can actually see what's going on.
Prep or Die. It's a cool show. They bring people on and then they force them to prepare a scenario given like very little information. Artemis can pitch it better than I can. But yeah, Artemis, if you guys ever like, if you can give me a few weeks' notice, I can work around it. Because that's what day of the week is that, Artemis?
Same. I mean, I would love to do that. That sounds like a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah. They give you 5 images in half an hour to prep a one shot. Yeah.
I get images though. Shit, that's easy.
Yeah. Which Artemis, I don't know if you saw our episode on Is This Content with Junie and Gabe. But we pitched a show that was kind of in that same ballpark of you're given a what was it? Oh, it's a movie or TV show, a book, and a song. And you have to take inspiration from all 3 of those sources and prep a one-shot and then run it right away for a group of players that's waiting for you. It was very fun. We'll probably end up recording an episode of it while we're at Gen Con, because we've got a lot we want to record while we're at Gen Con. Foils and Shinies says, what is the weirdest thing you've seen in D&D as an object? To me, that depends on if it's a homebrew or a core object. Because core object, I'll go Alchemy Jug all day long. Alchemy Jug, a magic item that will summon gallons of mayonnaise, is just a bizarre magic item that I love dearly, and it's wild that it has been around for as long as it has.
Right. The Wand of Smiles, I think, is a fun one too. Because you have to.
Was Wand of Smiles a core item, or was it one that Matt Mercer made for Critical Role and then it became core?
I mean,
okay.
You know,
there's a lot of like weird little
D&D
magic
Beyond
items,
ridiculousness that I have, and see if it's in their items real quick.
Oh, Foils and Shiny is asking specifically about homebrew items. Most bizarre homebrew item
to even
I've seen.
Say, because I don't personally know what the weirdest item. One of my tables has a staff that randomly, if it's not fed blood, they'll go into a horrible rage.
That's pretty good.
During their sleep, and they'll stab the first thing that they see. Normally, a party member. That one's fun.
I'm a big fan of. I have I've talked about him before on my on the stream here, but I have an NPC in my world who sells discounted magic items.
Ones that barely work.
Yeah, either ones that are like it was supposed to be one that would always have this effect, and instead it has like a limited number of charges, or some of them are just outright cursed or don't do what they're supposed to, or things like that. But one of the things that he does is he has like a bag that you can pay him a certain amount of gold to just reach in and grab an item and pull it out. And one of the items that my players got out of that was it's a ring of spell turning, which is it's a real object in the D&D world. You cast a spell on somebody, they have a ring of spell turning, they can redirect that spell back towards the caster. So my players were long-standing players. They knew what that item did when they got it, so they didn't bother like identifying it or anything like that. They put the ring on and went into battle, and a ways down the line, somebody threw a spell at them, and they activate the ring to reflect the spell back at the person. And instead of bouncing it back, all they see is a magic mouth appears in front of them, and it loudly says, "Turning, TURNING, turning." It's a ring of spell turning. It just spells the word turning every time you activate it.
Oh, goodness. That's hilarious.
That was a pretty good one.
I'd be pissed. As a player, I would be furious.
As a player, they were not thrilled. But but they were also like, yeah, I don't know why we thought we got an actual ring of spell turning for the 5 gold we gave him to pull an item from that bag.
Right.
The
It is a genius idea, though, I will say.
I love that merchant. He's very fun. Anytime I think of an item where I'm like, that's dumb, no one would ever buy that, I just give it to him. And his backstory is that he buys up like batch lots of magic items from the Mages College in their enchanting department. So he goes to the enchanting department where all these like mage students are trying to enchant things and buys all of the busted enchanted items that didn't do what they were supposed to.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
the in the spirit of a staff that can stab, I did used to have a staff that was enchanted with the Vorpal property,
Oh, God.
which was fun because it was basically
Why?
you just hit them so hard that it rips off their head.
That's insane.
um,
Uh, yeah,
oh,
no, so
Peen
the
51 says hell coffee for 3 days. You can't sleep, then crash and sleep for a week.
and you could be right. I mean, that would probably be a very fun object. Now, I have
Mm,
to remember, I have to remind myself, so the to kind of give a little bit of backstory on the it's not even the blood spear, right?
hmm
But it is what happened. I can't I have my first, mind you, my first pro gaming experience for D&D was a group of people out of California that said, "Hey, we've got one objective, that's it. We
hmm
want to play an evil campaign." I'd never done evil before in my life. So
Yeah,
now we've got the four
it's a
forces of
very
the
different game.
apocalypse. You know, the four forces of the apocalypse running around Cholt, trying to discover the Tomb of Annihilation so that
Nice.
they can take the power for themselves.
That's cool. I like that.
Um, each one of them, though, has a patron. Each one of them has a higher being that's giving them their own choices to fight follow. So one of them is listening to Acererak himself. One of them is listening to Imix, the prince god of fire. One of them is listening to the Gilthis tree, and one of them is listening to uh, Bane, I think is the or Baal Bane, one of
hmm
the god of destruction.
Yeah, Bane.
Uh, so the Gilthis tree is the one that the druid came to me and he goes, "Here's my backstory," and it was kind of similar to uh, the way I connected it was it's kind of like how oh, shoot, my brain is not working today. In Naruto, the Uchiha clan when they had to kill their brother type thing,
Okay.
and your best friend. Well, the tree kept telling them very serial killer like, okay, you got to go kill you got to go kill a rat.
hmm
Okay, and as he got older and older, the tree would tell him to kill more and more stuff
hmm
until he got to the point where he became of age. And this tree said, okay, well, if you really want my power, you really want to see what I can give you, you have to kill your best friend.
hmm
Um, and now he carries around this stick from the tree that he originally started in, and every once in a while it'll go from its red color, which means it's satiated,
hmm
to a darker black or brown.
hmm
And I ask him every night, I was like, "Have you checked your tree?" And he goes, "Oh yes, let me check the tree." And I was like, "The tree is black." And he goes, "Oh crap." So he runs to literally like the first creature he sees and just stabs it with this tree, because otherwise he knows at night he's going to have a horrible nightmare, and the nightmare is not going to be a nightmare out in the open.
hmm
He's actually going to attack one of his party members.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
and he did
brutal.
this after exhausted one day, and his party members literally had to knock him down to like 1 HP to drop him down so that he would stop trying to kill them with the tree. Now, mind you, this party is very unique because I from the beginning told them, do not play chaotic stupid.
hmm
You're going to play evil. And they surprised me with when they want to activate their evil mentality. And I was like, okay, this is what the party needed to be as an evil character, as an evil plot.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
like they help people, like they randomly will help groups of people. And then at the end of it, they'll get some information. They'll wait until one guy walks off into nowhere and kill him. Like, I'm just like, okay,
hmm
that works
Yeah.
because nobody else knows that it happened.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm trying to
but I
think of
warned them very
other.
early not to go kill random merchants and stuff
Right.
like that because
Yeah.
there's going to be problems.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other like random magic items that I've given players. I know I had the definitely not a cursed ring was
Not a
one of them.
cursed ring.
And the only effect of it was that the every single person who came into contact with the person who was wearing it firmly believed that their friend who was wearing the ring was under the effects of a curse from the ring.
Oh,
And
wicked.
the player who would wear the ring was absolutely convinced that the ring was not cursed. That's the only effect of the ring. And so the ring did not want to be removed. So the player was absolutely convinced that it was not cursed, but wouldn't remove the ring.
That's nuts.
Everybody else was absolutely convinced that it was cursed. Because it was a magical effect of the ring, it makes people think that it's a cursed ring. There was also the axe of dwarven throwing, which can only be attuned by a dwarf. And when the dwarf tries to throw it, it instead launches the dwarf forward,
Right.
which is always fun. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and show this preview video for your guys' project. And then we'll be back. It's super cool, guys. So stay tuned.
Stay.
That was perfect timing getting back. It literally ended as you sat down.
What's that?
That was perfect timing getting back. It literally ended as you sat down.
This is my dragon too.
That's awesome. This is the first official dragon we've had on the podcast.
Yeah, I realized it was funny because I never really thought about that, and then all of a sudden I was like, "I'm a dungeon master. And I actually have a dragon now."
You do.
Great to be a
Congratulations.
dragon.
You're both a dungeon and a dragon master.
You're right.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I don't know if I'm a master. You stay. You be nice.
He's going through the throat. Oh
Sure.
man. Thank you to Shiny Arthur for resubscribing. Appreciate you. Every time we
Awesome.
get a newer upped sub, it gets me very excited because it means that we're another step closer to being able to release more content on the channel, and we have a whole lineup of things that we're excited to bring to the channel, but can't yet because we don't have the funds coming in yet to be able to produce it. So I'm very, very excited. Artemis, thank you for posture and hydrate. I will. Cheers.
I can't posture because
you have a dragon on your chest.
I've got a dragon. I can't cheers though.
So tell us a little bit about its plots of Darkenhaven, right?
Yeah. So plots in Darkenhaven. Okay, stop it. Yeah, this will be fun. Plots
I'm
in
very, I'm
Darkenhaven.
very excited for. Thank you for the follow, Frankenbat. I'm very excited for Darkenhaven to be out.
So yeah, so
I
what we're
backed
pretty much
the
doing,
Kickstarter, and I'm just waiting. It's just,
yeah, so what we pretty much got the opportunity to do is we are giving snips and pieces of that box set that you guys will be receiving
mm-hmm,
using a lot of their artwork.
mm-hmm,
Now, we don't use all their artwork. A lot of our character arts are actually, and this is where we're asking people to help us, is if you have, $3 and can spare it, our Patreon is open. And what that's going to do is that's going to continue to allow us to build NPC artwork.
mm-hmm.
Our artist, what are you doing? This is the worst she's ever been. Stop it, you crazy girl. Come here. There we go. Really? This is what we're doing today? Okay, fine. Go sit on the couch. Go sit on the back.
Runaway Dragon.
Yeah, Runaway Dragons. But no, so our artwork is all done by an amazing artist over at. She originally was on Twitch. Now she's
Mm-hmm,
moved to YouTube. Her name is Brina Luna,
mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure that we're continuing to get amazing art.
Yeah,
And I can kind of send you a couple of those so that if you want to show those off,
sure. Yeah,
um, just to kind of give you the idea, this is not cheap. In our first
yeah.
season, we've completely covered the entire thing on our own dime.
Mm-hmm.
And for season two and heading forward, we'd love if people really are enjoying the artwork and the cast and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
that we just ask for a small donation to continue this because this is all going back to her for the amazing artwork that she's done for us. Um, the other artwork, however, is all stuff from Gooey Cube. And a lot of that stuff is going to be in the box set that you're going to receive for both Darkenhaven and Gloomport. And we do believe, and I'm going to say this in a very weird way, we do believe that this is the largest, one of the largest, most developed cities that will ever reach Dungeons and Dragons. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason we say that is because over 400 people contributed to this book.
It's massive.
It's
I've
massive.
seen
It's
I've
actually
seen
five. It's
little.
not actually a book. It's 5 books.
Yeah, I've seen little bits and pieces of it, and the stream is all garbledism. Pulling up
It's because
this
you've got the
artwork.
chat
Yeah,
open. If you
um,
close the chat, it'll fix that problem.
yeah. I just had to download all the images.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Let me pull these up so
And
we can show
and
them
I'm
off
just going
for
to
you.
toss our wonderful your wonderful name over there to our friends over at Brina Luna because she deserves to be known that her stuff is being shown off over here because she's amazing. Now, if you have followed our channel in any way, shape, or form, Brina not only did uh, not only did the artwork for Plots in Darkenhaven, she was the sole proprietor artwork for our charity one shot with Games to Grow that raised over $3,000, which was amazing. Um, and she did all that out of the courtesy of her heart. She also played on our winter stream of the Great Gooey um, Holiday, and
Hmm.
that was she was playing I don't even remember now, but she was Twinkle. That was her character. She was playing Twinkle, and she is just an amazing human being that has a affinity to artwork and bringing characters to life. And I might have to step away just for a moment to put her back in her cage because she's getting restless.
All good.
Stay.
Just showing off the
She is.
artwork over here.
Um, yeah, no, the artwork though, like I said, and that's really all we're asking is we're asking to try to get back some of the funding that we've put in for all this artwork. So if you're
Hmm.
willing to give a couple dollars to our cause, it will just help us continue to not only um, kind of refund some of our costs that we've already put into it, as
Hmm.
well as prepare for any new um, new potential artwork that we want to add. And we are trying to give things for our patrons that
Hmm.
want to help us out. So we also put up uh, usually a map a week or so, and that will allow you to use that in your own game. And we're hoping as more people jump on and hang out with us that we can increase that to something much more sufficient. But like you said, funds is kind of what dictates
Yeah,
this
it
project.
it is the bane of creatives, right? Is
It
the
is.
uh
We have to
um
have some way to fund this because I mean I know personally I know you're a professional game master full
mhm.
time, but for me, you know, I work a 40-hour job
Yep.
week. I have a full family and 4 kids, and get away from the lizard dog. Go. Okay, now I've got an animal house going on here. Go away,
Yeah,
lizard
it is
versus dog.
the bane of creatives is the funding to execute the vision.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
which,
And I'm
yeah,
curious to hear what kind of visions you guys have going on over here because I loved the one episode I got a chance to watch for um what is it?
hooligans,
Something
hash browns and
something in
hooligans.
hooligans.
Yeah, yeah, hash
Yeah,
browns and
hash browns and
hooligans.
hooligans, is that what
Yep,
it is?
yep.
Yeah. So and I really enjoyed it due to phone call, but the editing was sick. Thank you. Foils and shinies. Thank you. That we worked really hard on making sure that this 12 episode season one really kind of knocked us through the park. Uh, and just kind of an idea, we got the opportunity. So the first 4 or 5 people are people directly from GUI Cube, and they're coming on as guests to show off
Hmm.
not only their own skills, but most of these are going to be adventures and encounters that you're going to actually see in the book.
Hmm.
And then as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, we've actually got some pretty bigger names coming on to just promote and really just to have some fun.
Yeah,
Uh, we've got people like Brina, so our artist is going to come on for an episode because we felt that that had to be a thing that we had to make
absolutely.
happen.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Then we've got some TikTok people / YouTube people that have been on our Tavern Talk show that are going to join us. We have Phil from Last Game Board.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you guys have ever seen Last Game Board. That thing is cool. I get mine at Gen Con. I'm so excited. Phil has already got me slotted for one when I get the Gen Con. I just have to let it run throughout the weekend, and then I can take it home with me on
Nice.
Monday.
Maybe I should reach out to
So
Phil.
what's that?
Maybe I should reach out to Phil. I've been wanting one.
So Phil is an amazing individual that I've had the opportunity to work with multiple times now.
Hmm.
Um, we started at Gen Con last year when I was I met my second favorite game master in the world. And I was like, and not only did I meet him, I sat there and networked with him for 2.5 hours, and he introduced me to Phil. So I was
Nice.
like, this is crazy. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It's a really big stream called Realmsmith. If you
Hmm.
don't know what Realmsmith is and you're in the D&D community, you definitely need to check them out. They're
Doing
pretty
yourself
incredible.
a disservice. Yeah, they're cool stuff.
Yeah. In all honesty, I think that Jason Azevedo is probably my second to third favorite GM ever. Um, and I got to sit down at Last Game Board at Gen Con last year and talk to him.
Mm.
And he was the one that said, after our talk of about 2 hours, he goes, "Hey, I want you to meet these guys. They're coming up with something really cool."
Hmm.
And we got the opportunity to be one of their up and coming streams to beta test uh, the Last Game Board.
Yeah.
So and during that time, I also got the opportunity to work with Phil on his show, Whose Role Is It Anyways, which
Hmm.
is a very improv based game show. We're hoping we can bring it back this year.
Yep. Yeah,
But things are just
I've been over on
busy.
that.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
You don't find out your character until 5 minutes before the game starts.
Hmm.
Um, you don't know what the premise is until he tells you that night. Everything is straight improv. And for people who have that experience and that training,
Hmm.
awesome. For
Yeah.
people like me who have none of that, It's great too because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I would imagine even if it's not like a skill set of yours of like improv, like the improv side of things, even if that's not a skill set that you possess,
right.
it would still be fun to like be there and watching it all happen. And then like I feel like it would be something that especially if you're around people who are really good at improv, it would almost become easier throughout the episode, right?
Yeah. So like I had people so the one show I did get a chance to play with was with Paul,
Hmm.
your former host,
Hmm.
and or co-host. And to see the difference between an average person who doesn't have any improv skills and somebody who like yourself and him who have the the theater background and those
Hmm.
types of things, it was very fun to watch, and it was very fun to be a part of that kind of extreme differences that we got the opportunity to do. And I forget what the show, which one it was that we ran, but it was I was playing some Eric Cochra like monk character that was re-rolled immediately. Because what we do normally with that show is he goes into D&D Beyond, he hits the randomizer button. So
Hmm.
not only are you going to randomize your character and all the fun stuff with that, you're going to randomize all the stats. So if you're a monk with with no wisdom and you've got strength and intelligence,
Hmm.
you got to figure out stuff. You got to come up with things.
Yeah,
Um,
you just accept that you're not going to be using monk abilities in this
yeah,
game.
you're not
You're
going to
just
be
going
a
to be
monk
hitting
tonight.
people.
You're going to be
Yeah.
doing something ridiculous. But it was so much fun. Well, all right. 1 second. The lizard's actually on the run.
Not a problem. Runaway
Come here,
lizard.
baby.
Runaway dragon, everybody.
Go take you.
Nobody panic. Oh man, yeah. I've talked with Phil a couple of times from last game board. I'll hit him up and see if we can get him on the show and show it off for you guys because it is very cool. It's like a virtual tabletop that you bring to physical places. So you load it all up with the maps and stuff, and you can interact with regular minis and stuff. It's very very cool stuff. So yeah, I'll hit him up and see if I can get him to come on and show it off.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
And not to mention, if you're going to be at Gen Con this
Mhm.
year, they've got a huge display that they're doing. They're running a bunch of games for people. It's going to be super fun,
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to it.
I'm so
My
excited
goal
for
is to
Gen
be able
Con.
to run my adventure from GUI Cube on the last game board in the GUI Cube room for my shows or for my games. That's my plan. We're going to be doing last game board for VTT. We're going to be doing Sirenscape for sounds. My
Nice.
table is going to be hopping. That's all I'm
That's
saying. My
awesome.
table's going to be
That's
hopping.
super cool.
Uh,
Um,
but yeah,
yeah. I'm excited for Gen Con. There's a lot happening at Gen Con this year.
so much.
Um, Are you, other than the stuff with last game board, you doing anything exciting with Gen Con?
So I will be running my new book through GUI Cube on Thursday and Friday morning.
Hmm.
I would say you go check it out on Gen Con. They're both sold out, so there's no opportunity.
Perfect. That's what you like to see.
My only game that's not sold out currently is my Sunday morning game, and
Hmm.
that is an old module that's the first module that GUI Cube ever runs, called "What GUI Webs We Weave,"
Hmm.
and it's a nice little initiation to GUI Cube.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to getting the modules that I wrote for them back, seeing what amazing wordsmithing they added to it, and really prepping this for 2 weeks when I arrive at Gen Con. So this is going to be it's weird, right? The world of D&D right now grows very quickly. 2 years ago,
It is
I
expanding
wasn't
rapidly. Yeah.
I wasn't even a person of notice
Hmm.
in 2 years ago. And then I got the opportunity to start working with GUI Cube, and then that brought into launching uh, Tabletop Misfits,
Hmm.
and then immediately we launched right after we launched Tabletop Misfits and we started working in the world. Um, I started writing with them, and then during their Kickstarter, that was when they messaged me and they said, "Hey, we've got some one shots that we have for stretch goals, and we want people to, if you're interested in learning or actually writing big content. We're looking for a few people if you're interested. And they gave me a choice between the 5 modules, and I said, well, this for me is a no-brainer. I would love to write. Now, mind you, I didn't know what the amount of time and energy it was going to take to write it was.
Yeah.
And I will never probably
take on something that size again.
Take off that thing again, write the same way. But at the same time, I don't think I would never deny writing again. I would just make sure that I've prioritized. Or
you have an idea of the scope and things like that. Yeah.
Because it went from, hey, I write a 1 to 2 page thing for my adventures every week for my parties, or a couple page thing for one of the books for GUI Cube, to, hey, I need you to write 60 pages.
Right. Yeah. I'm not
very different.
Like, even when I run my games, I have a hard time writing things out into a format that anybody other than I would ever be able to read through. My notes are horrifying. My notes are just sprawling pages with little doodles in the margin and things circled and then random words attached to it. And
and I do all my
notes look like an insane person.
My note now, so that kind of helps me with the whole not completely missing and stopping from what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for looking away from the camera.
Oh, you're good.
I'm actually at work at the moment too, so gotta make sure I get that taken care of.
Absolutely. On Monday we did Excuse to Play and played Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And one of the guys from my actual play joined me to play. And at one point during the stream, he was like, "If any of my coworkers are watching this is my lunch break. I'm definitely taking lunch right now."
I'm working from home this week, so this was an opportunity for me to be on the show and take that opportunity. So that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I get it. Foils and Shiny, kind of curious what would happen if I wrote Evil Squirrel. Do it.
Evil Squirrel instead. What do you mean by that?
They're using an AI art generator and typing prompts into it and seeing what happens.
Oh, is that Wombo? Is that what they're using?
I don't know. What are you using, Foils and Shiny? I've liked these AI art generators. They're cool.
Dude, they're crazy cool.
Some of them are like meh. Some of them are awesome.
Yeah. We have one of the guys in our Facebook page for GUI Cube that does a lot of the words from the modules and then puts them up every once in a while. And some of the stuff that we've seen pop out of that thing is crazy cool.
Yeah. I've used them a couple of times in Hooligans because we're partnered with Alchemy, and so I need scene images for all of my scenes. And so every once in a while, if I can't find something that I'm really feeling, I'll just go to AI art generators and start typing in words about the scene and see what I get back. And some of the things I've gotten back are very cool. The one thing I have noticed about them is if you look at any portion of it, you're like, this is nothing. This is just a squiggly line shape.
Right, and then you
look at the whole thing and you're like, I know exactly what this is. But any portion of it, you're like, this is nothing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's very cool though. So we were talking about plots in Darkhaven. Or Darkenhaven. You're bringing on guests. You said the goal of it is to have a new mission that the guest is bringing in each week.
Yeah. So what it is. So give kind of a backstory.
Yeah.
Actually, so Darkenhaven is a massive city.
Yeah,
and
it's huge.
These are people. So we are in the slums of Darkenhaven, which is known as Uberton. Specifically Flaxen Wagon Alley, which is in the Steam Stankin district of the Uberton. So not only are we in the worst portion of the city, we're right next to the waste plant. So
Mm.
everything is just horrific and it's low grade and everybody's. So what has happened is there's a group of players, well, characters that have found a abandoned, condemned building
Hmm.
that they have now located, and our cleric discovered that this was an old building from a magistrate.
Okay.
And the magistrate comes and he is a ghost, and season one is trying to is to resolve the list of subjects so that the magistrate can, go away. Uh, so what is happening is people are coming to it's that one building where there's no sign on it, there's nothing like that, but the
Hmm.
people in the area know that if you need something taken care of, go reach out to the condemned building, and that's why they're called the custodians of the condemned.
That's cool. I
And
like that.
uh, and there's actually 16 actors that could show up on the show at any time.
Nice.
And we did that because we wanted to fight the number one killer of D&D games, and that is canceling.
Yeah.
So when we figured this out, we decided that instead of canceling, we would have 2 to 3 additional people that we could then ping at short notice and
Hmm.
say, "Hey guys, are you still ready?" And it's worked so far. Our first night, we thought that this was going to be the look of the rest of the season. Our first night, we lost our guest, and we lost our guest due to a somebody crashed into a telephone pole outside his house and knocked out electricity. First night, first show.
Yeah.
We had a couple other people that we've had as they knew the guest's plot line and they could stand in for the guest. So they stood in for the guest. And then we had one of our players who was like, "Hey, I've got a storm going on. I might not be able to make it."
Hmm.
So we had to swap another player out, but we still went without anybody knowing in the background what had happened.
Right.
Uh, so that's why we have the custodians themselves is about 12 of us.
Hmm.
And that includes all 3 game masters because we not only prepped for what if a player is not there, we prepped what if a game master can't make it. So there's myself, there's Corey, who is our main game master for plots,
Hmm.
and then there's Austin, who has yet to be shown on plots yet, but he also plays Zatarn on the Affordables, which is our original show. And we each have characters. I'm not revealing those characters because that's part of the fun is once you see a game master come in as a player, you're going to find out whose character they're playing.
Right.
So if you're looking for information on this, all of our social medias, tonight I'll drop the promo image for Plots in Darkenhaven episode 3.
Hmm.
We'll promo 1 because there is a possibility that I will be showing up for this one. We're still working with our other game masters to make sure that the story might need it.
Sure.
I'm specifically playing a cleric character, so if there might need healing, I might have to show up. If not, I might not show up for this section.
There you go.
But we are definitely excited to see where this project is leading us because the goal, like I said, is to produce the 12 episode season, and then based on love and support and that
Hmm.
will press us to go to season 2. And we're already talking about what that's going to look like.
Nice.
So, but like you said, content creation, you got to
Yeah.
get the support and you
It's
have to have
it's
a
a
little bit of
wild
funding.
a wild ride trying to make things happen.
But
Um,
really, all we're looking for is support,
yeah.
And remember, and this is not just for our show, this is for Warlocks and Waffles. If you have a Prime account,
Hmm.
don't let it go to waste.
Yeah. If you have
Give it
a
to your
Prime account,
favorite give
yeah,
it to your favorite Twitch streamers because it doesn't cost you anything more than you already
yeah,
are
it's already
paying.
included in your Prime membership.
And it just gives us, it gives us those $2 to $3 extra a month to continue to do what we do.
Hmm.
And for some of us, it's a couple hours, a week. For other people, it's many, many hours a week.
Hmm.
And if you like what they're doing, try to support them. It's nothing more than a tip to show that you're enjoying the content, because that's the main focus of it all, right?
Yeah.
It's enjoying that content, because otherwise, I mean, personally for me, mine is enjoying the people that I'm playing with and having a good time with. And the viewers are great and the viewers help, but really, as long as I'm having a good time and my players are having a good time, I will continue to produce content
Yeah.
because it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
But
It's one of those things where it's like I almost feel bad being like, "Hey, toss money my way," because I do genuinely enjoy making the
right,
content, and especially like some of the stuff we have in the pipeline right now that we want to be making. I'm hugely excited about. There's one show that we've got sort of. There's two shows that we've got like in the pipeline of like potential shows we would like to make that I'm like I love both of them so much, and the one of them is like I could probably make it happen. But it is like I want to make sure that the cast and crew are taken care of, and like for before I can start taking care of the cast and crew of that one, I need to take care of the cast and crew of Hooligans.
yeah,
And so it's one of those things where it's like I do enjoy it, but it does limit it.
yeah, it does.
But
And I said, and for stuff like us, especially like for our show on Tabletop Misfits, nothing is going back to myself, Corey, any of the cast until all of the main things to fix and to improve on will be improved on. So until that happens, 100% of any donations that are happening, either through tips or through
mm-hmm.
subscriptions or whatever, it's going back to the stream.
Yeah,
That we're not a large stream. I don't get 65,000 people every episode like Matt Mercer does over at Critical Role. So no, it doesn't come back to me. It doesn't come back to anybody on the stream. A lot of the money we're putting out is putting out directly to support it ourselves.
mm-hmm.
And that covers, different VTT stuff
Yeah,
and sounds and all that. So if you're wondering how to I support a Twitch stream or how do I support content creation in D&D, the best way to do it is two things. One, if you can give a couple bucks, it goes a long way. You don't understand what $3 can do for somebody every month.
mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, it's going to buy somebody a new microphone. It's going to buy somebody, a new webcam. It's going to, pay for that internet bill that you didn't expect you needed to pay for that week, that
Yep.
kind of thing. The other thing is share. Anytime our content gets out there, it helps us get that promotion out farther. And I think that's more important nowadays than anything, because $3 is great for me, but if you can go out and you can share, your favorite moments on Warlocks and Waffles or your favorite episode in Plots and Darkenhaven,
Mm-hmm.
it's going out and reaching people that we just wouldn't reach normally.
Yep.
And I can rattle this off all day long, but I would prefer people to just share our stuff. If you really like the stuff, share it out. That's
Yeah.
that's my one ask.
Yeah,
Um,
follow your favorite content people
yeah,
on
follow
all their
them.
social media stuff, and then anytime you see them saying like, "We're gonna be live, we're live, we're doing
Yeah,
this thing,"
yeah.
like
Throw it out real fast.
show the
It's
love.
a 2 second button.
Yeah,
Hit the share screen, go, share, go.
yeah. And if
Um,
you have one additional person that showed up for that stream because you
yeah,
retweeted it,
right.
that means a lot to your content people.
And
Um,
and it's crazy because that's what we're seeing as our growth. It's not because we're not big enough to get organic growth yet. D&D is so saturated right now that it
mhm.
is so hard to even dive into the project right now. And I wasn't there at the beginning. So if I would have started this thing in 2018,
Yeah,
we'd
right
be
at
the
the
top
beginning
five,
of the D and
top
D
five,
boom.
top 10 in
Yeah,
the world.
yeah, yeah.
But we didn't. We started it in 2021, 2022, that kind of thing, where there's 100,000 D&D channels
Hmm.
nowadays. The only way we're going to get better and we're going to be known is if our community shows it.
Yeah.
And so I'm building one friend at a time. So for me personally, if you want to help us out over at Tabletop Misfits, one, if you know somebody who is doing cool things like Warlocks and Waffles are, or like our guest last night, Todd over at Tabletop Creatives on Facebook, And when I say crazy things, like this man is the single-handed terrain designer for WizKids.
Nice.
I didn't know that was a thing
Yeah.
until last night, until I found out. So anytime WizKids needs a new terrain built for display at cons,
Hmm.
they call this guy. And he builds, 6 foot by like 5 foot tables full of WizKids and Dwarven Forge terrain,
Hmm.
uh, and then sends that image and all those books, all those pieces off to WizKids and says, "Hey, now take this to your con for the next 6 months." Uh,
That's awesome.
right? Yeah, that's what I said too. If you know people like that,
Yeah.
you want to help me out, get those people in contact with me, because if you do that, I can then reach out to those people and have them on the show. And that's less people I have to badger to get on the show, which I do. I badger people all the time. I
Hmm.
badgered Hunter. I mean, come on. I did. I bothered him for like what, 2 seconds? And I said, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" And he said, "Sure." But no, really, that's the way I'm looking. That's what I would hope for next year, is that I no longer have to go to player or to go to those creative people, that they're coming to me so that I can slot them in for episodes on Tavern Talks,
Hmm.
because that takes a lot of time and energy out of my time, and it also allows them to be proactive to tell me, "Hey, I want to join." You
Hmm.
know, it's just kind of how it goes. What's Boils and Shiny saying? He's got a long conversation with.
The problem in all forms of creative entertainment is that the top 0.1% or 0.01% gets 90% of the funding when they could have done easily with just less than 15% to run their program at near equal quality, while the rest gets 10% or so but needs 60% plus to run their wished quality. Asking is fair. Wish you find an investor angel or grow more so it can be funded organically. It goes for music, movie clips, talk shows, as much as D&D. Yeah, anything in that creative space. Like I know authors who are like just trying to like
Trying to get
they've
by.
trying to make something.
Yeah.
And like there's people that want to read their stuff but are like, yeah, I'll download a PDF of it, and it's like, cool. It would help if you bought it.
Right. Yeah. It would help if you bought, you know.
Um, but
Um,
yeah, it's wild. Um, I yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to be recording while we're at Gen Con, of like I'm calling it pilot season. It's just going to be us recording a bunch of like the first episode of a bunch of different show ideas that we have,
oh, nice.
and then we'll show them all off on the channel and see what people enjoy, what they don't, and go from there. But yeah, we've got some very fun ideas in the pipeline that we're going to be recording while we're at Gen Con.
I'm
Um,
curious to hear what those are. Do you want to share those now, or are you
I
gonna
mean,
are
I
those?
can pull up the doc. Give me a second.
And I'm always
Um,
looking for, new projects to jump in and help out with, because I'm crazy like that.
yeah, let's see here.
The only thing I have to watch out is that my family doesn't get neglected too much on that.
Um, yeah, I mean we've got a bunch of stuff that we were pitching. We did an episode of the show a few weeks back that we just called "Is This Content," where three of us were just rapid pitching show ideas at the other two,
Nice.
which was very fun. We have one that I'm very very excited about. Is let's see where to go. It's called All Nighter, spelled Knighter,
This sounds
um,
dangerous.
which is the all the players will have been awake for over 24 hours, and the GM will be well rested, and they have to play through a one shot.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Another one that we had.
I think I would do that as like a I'd do that as a like a charity stream. I don't
Yeah,
think I would
yeah.
do that
Oh,
as anything else.
it would not be a like a long running show. It would be like a once in a while for a charity or something.
It'd be brutal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Let's see here. Um, One of them, I mean, one that we're very excited about. We'll definitely be recording this at Gen Con. Is Junie Ruiz presents Spicy Boys. Thank you for the follow. Which is, have you ever seen Hot Ones?
No.
So Hot Ones is like an interview show where they give really spicy like wings and stuff like that, and they're
Oh,
eating
okay.
these really spicy wings while they're trying to interview the person. So the person is like dying as they're
Oh
interviewing.
God.
And so we're gonna record basically that, but in D&D. Where you're trying to play through a game, and when you fail rolls, you have to eat really spicy things. And so you're just like slowly engulfing in flames. A lot of our projects
That's
are,
horrible.
like here's this like short thing that will be miserable and also very fun. Um,
Right?
uh,
That is horrific. Like, oh my goodness.
I love spicy food, but we definitely need to find people that like spicy things in order to
Yeah,
be
I
on it.
don't. Yeah, like
Uh,
if you do that to me, I'd probably be very upset.
Let's see here. There's some of them that are still sort of in development, so I don't want to give anything away.
No, no,
Um,
sure.
uh, One of them is called Oops All GMs, where everybody is simultaneously a GM and a player in the game. And so there would be like a
I
timer,
want
and
to.
when the timer goes off, it switches who's running the game.
You're
Um,
stealing an idea that I already had. Damn it.
um,
We talked
so,
actually behind the scenes.
mhm,
The Misfits have talked about that because we have so many GMs now that
yeah,
we could do it.
absolutely.
Uh, I think though I would want, and this is the thing that I believe that we've done that's a little different than most people is
Hmm.
we've tried to get as many guests on our show as we can, and
Yeah.
that's just because I'm ridiculously tenacious and
Hmm.
badgering to people. But I must be in a decent way that people continue to do it because
Sure.
this will be episode 54 coming on next week for Tavern Talks, and I've only had two people in 54 episodes that were the same.
Yeah.
So I have to
That's
say I'm
awesome.
doing something right. I don't
Yeah.
know what, but I'm doing something.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we used to have more guests on the show, and then I just with everything haven't had time to go out
Yeah.
and find guests, unfortunately, um, which has been unfortunate. But it's always fun when we do have somebody on.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
do you have other shows that you're like that you would like to be creating that you're not currently?
Oh, you know, really, I think my next step would be, and this is where I'd go from, hey, he's a normal GM to, hey, he's a crazy person, uh, is our next project is actually our Discord. So our goal by next year, and this is all going to be based off of um, how our Patreon starts to grow and the potential for a Kickstarter coming up,
Hmm.
because we're trying to think that if we can get enough people to support a Kickstarter for us to really build Plots in Darkenhaven out,
Hmm.
uh, that we would most likely try to actually do a 24/7, and I have a group that's already doing it. Realmsmith has one already, but I want to do one based in the world of GUI Cube that is a 24/7 role play channel that you can come in and play in the world
Hmm.
with your own character.
That's cool. Yeah.
And that's our big plan for the future.
Hmm.
Um, as for shows, I think I'm diving more into wanting to do um, content creation, but also I think I want to offer my services back. I think instead of me running a show this time, I want to allow my time and energy for somebody else to be that driving point,
Hmm.
and I'll come in and I'll just support.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for the follow, Foils. Yeah, my I've been saying that too. Like I'm
because like I have
pushing
friends, I've
everything
built
on the channel
some
right now.
amazing
I would love to pass
communities.
it off.
Well, I've built some amazing communities just through playing and reaching out to people
Hmm.
on for, guests and whatnot. And now we've got people like we're talking with people over at the Red Hair Inn
Hmm.
and the Initiative Order and those guys over there that run 3 to 4 games. And I think I would rather offer my services or my time and energy to go play with those guys. Build that community,
Yeah.
build that camaraderie compared to putting on another show for the 4 or 5 of us that play.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's because without that kind of development,
Hmm.
nobody's going to see growth because you're right. The way I always tell people with D&D right now is there's this small group of people that is your top 10
Yeah.
D&D streams and content creators.
Yeah.
Um,
Your critical
and then you've
roles, your
got
Dimension 20s.
and then you've got this massive community.
Hmm.
The only way the massive community is going to become this is if the massive community works together.
Hmm.
So my goal, kind of what you were saying, is instead of going out and getting all the TikTok artists, instead of going out and getting all the YouTube artists, my goal is to find a person from 5 to 10 streams, including ours,
Hmm.
and saying, "Hey guys, let's get together one night and let's play. You know, let's take let's take one person and then let's combine the community. Let's show off. Let's host each person's hosting one channel,
Hmm.
and we're all running it.
Yeah.
And whoever the game master is every week is the one is you're hosting their game
Oh, that's fun. Like
every week
a rotating game that's gonna move between the channels.
between the channels.
That's cool. You know what you do with that. You are you familiar with the Modron March? Are you familiar with Modrons in D&D?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so the Modrons in D&D do a thing called the Modron March, where they march through all the planes of existence. You
Oh,
do a Modron March game, and that way it's moving from like
from one channel to
from channel
another.
to channel,
That's funny.
and
That's
then
actually
each person can do it on a different plane of existence if they wanted to.
yeah. Well, because I mean, a lot of these places they don't just uh, they don't just have one section. They're running in their own worlds. They've
Hmm.
done this stuff for themselves. They've developed their own planes of existence,
Hmm.
but nobody ever sees it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because and like I know a lot of them have grown. Like not saying that we're a very small stream compared to a lot of even the people I talk to,
Hmm. Oh
but
yeah, I'm the same way. We hit 300 earlier this week,
yeah,
and
like
it's like
we're approaching. Um, I think we're approaching almost like 450. I think is where we're at right
nice.
now. But that's almost 2 years of time.
Yeah.
It's not like we did this overnight,
Hmm.
and um, but
No, I'm super into that. I like that idea a lot. Um,
so now with the
I've said
combined
for
Warlocks and Waffles and the Misfits, and
yeah,
like I said, I know
I've
the
said
Red
for
Hair
a while.
Inn.
I feel like the one of the things that would um, benefit all of the like small streamers is doing like more of a network,
Right.
not an individual channel. You've got like yeah,
Correct.
this person streams on Mondays and Tuesdays. This person streams on Wednesdays and Fridays. This person streams on Thursdays and Saturdays.
Right.
And like it's just all like everybody's helping each other out because like yeah, I mean there are situations where like yeah,
So
both me and this
there's a
other
D&D
person.
channel that does that, and they have probably the biggest growth outside of the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
outside of the big 10%, they have a huge growth because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they do. Monday and Tuesday, this guy's running it. Wednesday and Thursday, this guy's running it. So they're always within the community,
Mm-hmm.
something's going on. But at the same time, it's not the same channel, or it is the same channel, but it's a group of people.
Right.
It's no longer just one person. That's Fable 42. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Uh,
It's who?
Fable 42.
Mm-mm. I'm not
So
familiar.
they run, have you heard of the Swole Initiative yet?
No.
So it is a monster of a man. He actually lives in Virginia here, like just about a couple hours outside of where I'm at. So I've
Mm-hmm.
spoken with him to actually meet up and network in person, which is so
Mm-hmm.
much different than meeting up and doing it
Yeah.
over Zoom. But uh, he runs one channel, and then Fable 42, who is connected with Critical Dice, they run a channel, but they run probably 4 or 5 shows weekly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always different game masters, it's always different times.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done that. They've built that network.
Yeah.
They've grown it to be very, very big. And I think that's the one way to, and I think what we'll do probably, and I'll pitch this to my team because I'm always the cat that lets everything out of the barrel. Uh, I'm the cat that can't shut up. This is what happens. And my players are the ones that yell at me and go, "Hey, you gave away a secret." And I was like, "Oops, my bad, didn't mean to." Uh, the the goal would be is to probably do this in between seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It will, because I don't want to really pick up, as much as I like the idea, I don't really want to pick up another night that I'm playing D&D,
Mm-hmm.
because I have so much else that I'm working on.
Sure.
But at the same time, after 12 episodes of D&D, and we've hit our season 1 finale and we're done, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe talking to the team about taking like a 2-week break, and then we'll do a network event for 4 to 5 weeks, and then that gets us ready for Plots in Dark and Haven season 2,
Mm-hmm.
or we'll come back to our normal schedule of the affordables, and we'll see what those guys are doing over there, just to kind of break up that monotony. But at the same time, it
Sure.
gives those opportunities for before another big uh, event to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to worry. It gives those opportunities to network, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the process that most of us have talked about, because of the fact that it's so hard to break into this
That's
content,
center. Yeah.
this center, yeah, the epicenter of what we're doing here. And I think that's a way to do it without losing the authenticity of
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
uh, because that's, I think, the biggest downfall right now, is the authenticity seems to be dying quickly,
Mm-hmm.
um, with things that are happening in the world with D&D, and I don't want to see that fully go away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know
Um,
how long you run this for, but I'm enjoying the conversation.
yeah, we'll probably wrap it up here shortly, but yeah, this is good. I agree. There's so much room for content.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
but there's also all of these, like, there's a lot of people that like don't know that there is other content out there. They're like, oh yeah, I watch Critical Role. I wish there was other things like it. And it's like, there is. There's
There is.
there's a
There's
lot of
quite a
stuff out
bit
there
like
like
it. You
like
just
Critical
got to
Role.
know where it's at, and you
Um,
got to know how to find it.
yeah. The thing that is always um, a warning to me, though, are the people that like are making content and they go, "We're the next Critical Role," and it's like, Okay,
You won't be.
roll that back. That's an outlandish goal.
Yeah,
You
yeah, and
you
most people
are
don't realize.
yeah, like
Um,
Critical Role was everybody in that was all already partially famous when it started. They were already doing cool
yeah,
things. They were friends with Felicia Day, who then was like, "Hey, I run Geek and Sundry. Do you want to stream your thing?"
yeah.
And then from there, they hit the ground running. They were very quickly the biggest name in the space.
And not only
Um,
were they the biggest name in the space, truthfully, other than maybe
mhm.
Dimension 20, which is still
Oh, I
a
love
large
Dimension 20.
name,
Yeah.
um, they were the only ones in the
They were
space.
the only people there. Like they, I mean, there were a lot of
And
podcasts.
that's I think the
Um,
biggest thing that people need to realize is not only was Critical Role the biggest.
mhm.
Oh crap, I'm killing my house. Ah, sorry.
uh, also, thank you, ATD Cartography for the follow or for the sub. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Rock the subs on with this guy, man. He's awesome. He takes a lot of time and energy out of this stuff to get this out. Um,
Foils and Shinies ran Warlocks and Waffles logo through the AI generator.
oh
Um,
yeah?
it's pretty cool.
Let me look at
Uh,
it. Let me see.
it reminds me of like a Stroop waffle. It reminds me of like that sort of logo.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Critical Role has done incredible things for the community and for like the hobby
Right.
as a
But
whole.
that's the thing.
Absolutely no shame to or shade to Critical Role. It's a
It
like
bothers me though when people, and I'm probably not the only person that's going to say this, but it bothers me though when people come to me, especially if they want to play these amazing, or they want to do the whole, oh, I want you to run my games, right? And then they ask me, well, are you like Critical Role? No, no, I'm not. I'm nowhere near like Critical Role. I don't have 20 to 30 years of voice acting experience to do what Critical Role does. And as much as you might want me to, but then again, I ask people this. If I was Critical Role,
mhm.
or if I was like Critical Role, do you think I'd be charging what I'm charging?
Right, yeah. Like if I was Critical Role, I would not be doing what I'm doing. Am I like Critical Role? I guess in the sense of like I
I I create
is it a story driven
I create
RPG
D&D
on a
content.
stream? Yeah,
Yes.
I guess. I do voices,
Yeah. And you do
but like
voices better than I do. Like,
uh,
truthfully, my voices are not great at all.
but like at a certain point, like there's only so much you can do. Their Critical Role is a cast of professionally trained actors who have been voice actors for years. Um,
Not to mention, there is something to be said about that, right? And it took us 2 years to figure this out on our stream. So I'm going to give you guys a secret. Most streams have somewhat of points that they want to hit in their story. Almost guarantee it. The reason I say this because I've talked to a couple of the big streams and they've told me the same thing. And this is what we had to figure out. And this is why Plots in Darkenhaven feels so much more natural
mhm,
because the actors, the players, and I call them actors because they are, um, they have plot points.
mhm,
They don't know all the nuances of the story,
mhm,
but they know that the goal of the game, the goal of the story is to get to these points.
mhm.
And this is you can see the difference between how and you can see how Critical Role does it. And I've seen Matt's notes and I've seen what Matt tells his players is on because he shows these things on Twitter every once in a while.
Mhm.
If there's a plot hook, he's told his players about the plot hook beforehand. Because you can't tell me, and if you can, I'm impressed because there's probably a 1%, if not like a 0.001% of people that can do this.
Hmm.
On the episodes that they go shopping,
Hmm.
you can't tell me they have not scripted those descriptions on what they're wearing. Can't tell me they have.
Yeah, I mean, it is
Or Liam,
definitely.
if you
Uh,
watch season two, and this is a spoiler if you haven't watched season two, I'm sorry. When he describes his magical mansion for 40 minutes in every single room that it's connected to, you
mhm.
can't tell me he hasn't been sitting there thinking about that sucker for, you know, 6 weeks. Like,
um,
he's got 9 levels to a mansion.
mhm.
He didn't pull that off his head. It didn't happen.
uh,
It
yeah,
just
I
didn't.
mean, to a certain extent, you have to, right,
You have
for
to,
the
and I've realized
entertainment
that.
property. Hooligans, I do my absolute best to limit the amount that I tell any players. I have my players ask me questions constantly throughout the week, and the majority of the time I respond with, "We'll find out."
Right? Because
But
what
like
else are you gonna say?
there are definitely like even in a home game there should be a level of communication of like a player coming to the gym and going, hey, I'd really like to get to this thing, I'd really like to incorporate this thing, cool, let's do it. And like I've had back and forth conversations with a player during the game of like, is this, how would this be going, how is this look. um, but yeah, I mean, I try and avoid as much notes as possible because there are streams where you're like, oh, this feels scripted, and I never want to hit that. But
Right,
yeah,
exactly. You don't want to hit that.
you have to have some notes in order for it to be an entertaining stream. The games
Right.
where nothing is planned out and it's just D&D are like, yeah, I mean, it's D&D, but it's not something that I want to sit and spend hours of my time watching.
Right.
Um,
And that's kind of what we did with bots is we figured those things out. We started to understand the nuances of what a stream should be. We wanted to tell a good story. We didn't just want it to be, you know, D&D. We wanted it to be a good story, and we wanted it to be a story that has somewhat of a plot behind the scenes,
mhm.
even though it was an every day, every week was a different story. We still wanted something that kind of tied it all together. Um, but also, we had talked many times about this where we didn't want the nuance of not having things ready
Mhm.
because when you're on a stream, you don't want to be the game master's like, oh, I don't have this map ready.
Mhm.
I don't have this thing ready. Even if it's like I have these things ready for it, but I don't have the monsters ready, I can swap those out real fast. But if I
Yeah.
don't have a map ready, it's not going to be a 5 minute process. I'm going to have to go build it in some sort of application, or I'm going to have
Mhm.
to draw it out on a screen, or whatever it is. Um, and I do this for my paid games too. So anybody that
Mhm.
plays or anybody that wants to come, play a game with me, whatnot, you got to message me directly. I do have a start playing games, but it's only for custom offers. And it's more so for people that want to run a one shots that I'm willing to afford through there. Otherwise, I do everything personally. And Devin knows this because I've talked to Devin multiple times. That's a funny story. I was on beta for that game for that system when it first came out, and I had 4 games up there. I got 0 hits. I was like, wow, this sucks. And I sat down with Devin, and he went through for like 3 hours with me trying to figure out how we can change the wording to make it more
Mhm.
exciting. He goes, dude, I'd come play in this.
Mhm.
I was like, cool. And it was low priced. Wasn't I think it was like $10 a
Mhm.
player, which is actually low bowling
Yeah,
nowadays.
substantially.
Um, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I said, I'm gonna give you a heads up. I'm gonna throw these up on 2 Facebook channels and see what happens. Within 2 weeks, I filled both tables. I was like, just wasn't start playing games for me. But
Mhm.
I have all the respect in the world for Devin. I think he did an amazing opportunity to give those that have the storytelling skills that they do for start to run in games like that.
Mhm.
But for me, it just didn't work. and I was okay with that. So,
Yeah.
um, but
Yeah, it's definitely hit or miss for different people. Like
and it took
I run.
you
Go ahead.
some time, I believe, too, right? You told me that.
It took me. I was running professionally for probably 3 years before I was making any sort of real money from it.
Yeah,
I was probably on start playing for maybe 6 months before I was um,
bringing anything in.
bringing any sort of substantial money in.
Yeah,
But I was one of the first 5 GMs on the platform. So when I started, like there weren't a ton of other GMs on there to compete with. There wasn't a ton of customers either, but there wasn't a lot of competition. Um,
right.
but yeah, it is definitely hit or miss. Um, Anything you would like to any last plugs before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you're going to be at Gen Con, come find the GUI room. We're up on the second floor. I don't have the booth number on me anymore because I didn't plan that portion of it. Uh, Whoops. If you like me, you like hearing this wonderful, ridiculous voice that I have, I will be over on Tabletop Misfits Twitch channel on Wednesdays and Sundays. If you don't see me, you'll see one of the other Goofy cast. We start episode 3 of Plots in Darkenhaven this week, and both of our shows run at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because most of us have children, and it's better to have all kids in bed before we start streaming. So that is the main reason why I run so late. People who've never done D&D and watch Critical Role really expect something else. Some foils and Chinese, I agree to a point. I've only had a handful of people out of the hundreds of people that I've played with that have ever asked me, is this going to be like Critical Role? Because 90% of people nowadays realize that that is not a possibility. But sorry, my
Oh, you're good.
shiny
My
syndrome kicked in,
my
and
brain goes the same way.
I
Um,
launched off into no man's land.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, we go check out Tabletop Misfits. Awesome stuff over there. You maybe I don't know. Do you export all of your stuff over to YouTube after
we
it's been?
do. Give me 1 second
So
to
yeah,
get
you
that
can
link.
you can probably you can go over there. You can track down the Easter one shot I played with you guys, where I played an
Yes,
Easter bunny.
you did. You
That was fun.
played an Easter bunny, which
Um,
was fantastic.
or the Tavern Talks one where I forget what we talked about, but it
It
was
was
all
voices.
over the place.
It was voices is what we meant to talk about. I don't know where it ended, but
It was all
we
over the
talked
place. It
about it.
was fun. Um,
That is a normality for Tavern Talks, though.
mhm.
Is just that we normally will yeah. So there's the YouTube channel right there, um, and we have all 3 episodes or all 2 episodes of Plots in Darkenhaven are up there.
Nice.
All 52 or 53 episodes of uh, Tavern Talks, along with some of our one shots and things like that. Um, Finally, of course, if you want to support us in any way other than that, here is our Patreon. This is just a way to, if you subscribe monthly, you're going to get maps, you're going to get updates on the episodes. As we grow the Patreon, more updates will come out. And all that does is that allows us to build content knowing that we've got a little bit of funding to take care of the content that we
Yeah.
want to produce. And that just helps us out there. So
Awesome. Let's
thanks for
see.
having me, man. I
Yeah,
mean, like I said, I
absolutely.
had you on
Glad
the show a
glad you
couple
were able
months
to make it.
ago, and I was
Um,
looking forward to this show. You and I have talked about it a couple times,
yeah,
and
and if you ever
yeah,
wanna if we ever wanna do flip back, I'm happy to come back on and do something with you
yeah.
guys.
So let me see here. I know I can do this. We don't have to do this now, but
Yeah, we can talk through it.
yeah, I
Um,
think yeah, I'm
well,
already filled out until October, but
cool.
anytime after October,
Yeah.
we can talk.
Yeah, the summer into early fall is hectic for me anyway because I get married in September. So everything is wild on this end right now.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I mean, if you need a D&D guy to be at your wedding, I'm happy to come join. I will come in
Awesome.
full guards that I don't have right now.
Let's see here. Any of my people, any friends of the show streaming? We'll go ahead and raid here.
Got a nice little following though. Like I said, I mean, you got anywhere between 10 to 20 people coming in most of the time. That's a good following to,
Yeah, yeah.
especially for
I love
a
our
Thursday afternoon or
yeah
Thursday morning, you know.
yeah. I love our followers. They're awesome. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and raid Phoenix Walkie. They're playing D&D right now,
Oh, nice.
so let's go ahead and throw that way.
Just in time for the end.
Okay. Have a great week, guys. Later.
See ya.